Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers for a World in Crisis. Today, Humility, Part 2. The Mother has given us, through the message of the flowers, two most important significances relating to humility. Actually more. For many years I've been traveling the roads of Oroville. When they are dry and red soil covers plants, a native shrub, Terrena asiatica, with its creamy white flowers in small clusters, its name, humility before the divine in the physical nature. Mother has also given a significance to the lavender roses, humility in the love for the divine, and a grass, just a little grass, lovely little grass, humility. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about this plant, which is covered with the red soil every year, and I have to take a bottle of water and clean the leaves and the flowers in order to take a photo. But it is so beautiful and has a wonderful fragrance, and it resonates in my heart. Humility before the divine in the physical nature. So today, from the Mother, never to forget the sense of total self-giving to the grace which is the expression of the Supreme. When you give yourself, you abandon, resign entirely to that which is above and beyond all creation. And instead of seeking a personal advantage out of the experience, you make an offering of it to the divine grace. And you know that it is from the divine grace that the experience comes, and it is to that grace that the result of the experience should be given back. Then you are safe. In other words, no ambition, no vanity, no pride. Sincere self-giving, sincere humility, and you are protected from all danger. There. That is what I call being greater than one's experience. And now from Sri Aurobindo. A spiritual humility within is very necessary. But I do not think an outward one is very advisable. Absence of pride or arrogance or vanity is indispensable, of course, in one's outer dealings with others. It often creates pride, becomes formal, or becomes ineffective after a time. I have seen people doing it to cure their pride, but I have not found it producing a lasting result. It is only this habit of the nature, self-worrying, and harping on the sense of deficiency that prevents you from being quiet. If you threw that out, it would be easy to be quiet. Humility is needful, but constant self-depreciation does not help. Excessive self-esteem and self-depreciation are both wrong attitudes. Perhaps one could say that spiritual humility, is to be aware of the relativity of what has been done compared with what is still to be done, and also to be conscious of one's being nothing without the divine grace. These are the conditions in which one can grow through all experiences with security and have the right development of the complete realization without disturbance to the system or being carried away by the intensity of the experience. Calm, psychic purity, bhakti, and spiritual humility before the divine are the three conditions. The experiences in themselves are right and helpful. It is the usual experience that if the humility and resignation are firmly founded in the heart, other things like trust come naturally afterwards. If once the psychic light and happiness, which is the boon of these things, is founded, it is not easy for other forces to cloud that state, and not possible for them to destroy it. That is the common experience. You are surely mistaken in thinking that the difficulty of giving up intellectual convictions is a special stumbling block in you more than in others. The attachment to one's own ideas and convictions, the insistence on them, is a common characteristic. It can be removed by a light of knowledge from above, which gives one the direct touch of truth, or the luminous experience of it, and takes away all value from mere intellectual opinion, ideas, or conviction, and removes the necessity for it, or by a right consciousness which brings with it right ideas, right feeling, right action, and right everything else. Or else it must come by a spiritual and mental humility, which is rare in human nature, especially the mental, for the mind is always apt to think its own ideas, true or false, are the right ideas. Eventually, it is the psychic growth that makes this surrender too possible. And that again comes most easily by bhakti. In any case, the existence of this difficulty is not in itself a good cause for forecasting failure in yoga. The direct opening of the psychic center is easy only when the egocentricity is greatly diminished, and also if there's a strong bhakti for the mother, a spiritual humility and sense of submission and dependence is necessary. It is very unwise for anyone to claim prematurely to have possession of the supermind, or even to have a taste of it. The claim is usually accompanied by an outburst of super-egoism, some radical blunder of perception, or a gross fall, wrong condition, and wrong movement. A certain spiritual humility, a serious, unarrogant look at oneself, and quiet perception of the imperfections of one's present nature, and instead of self-esteem and self-assertion, a sense of the necessity of exceeding one's present self, not from egoistic ambition, but from an urge towards the divine, would be, it seems to me, for this frail, terrestrial, and human composition, far better conditions for proceeding towards the supramental change. To talk about the supramental and think of bringing it down in yourself is the most dangerous of all. It may bring an entire megalomania and loss of balance. What the sadhak has to seek is the full opening to the divine, the psychic change of his consciousness, the spiritual change. Of that change of consciousness, selflessness, desirelessness, humility, bhakti, surrender, calm, equality, peace, quiet sincerity are necessary constituents. Unless he has the psychic and spiritual change, to think of being supramental is an absurdity, and an arrogant absurdity. Of course, you can do yoga without being great. There is no need of being great. On the contrary, humility is the first necessity. For one who has ego and pride cannot realize the highest. Humility before the divine is also a sine qua non of the spiritual life. And spiritual pride, arrogance, or vanity and self-assurance press always downward. But there is the fact also that nobody need keep himself in this danger. One-mindedness, surrender to the divine, faith, true love for the divine, complete sincerity in the will, spiritual humility, real, not formal. There are so many things that can be a safeguard against any chance of eventual downfall. Slips, stumbles, difficulties, upsettings, everyone has. One can't be assured against these things, but if one has the safeguards, they are transitory. Help the nature to learn, and are followed by a better progress. Such is the teaching, calm, wise, and clear, of our most ancient sages. They had the patience and the strength to find and to know. They had also the clarity and humility to admit the limitation of our knowledge. Namaste.